Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to another PBQ of the CompTIA Security Plus 701 exam. Today we'll talk about certificate errors, and we'll also look at the chain of trust. This is a simulation PBQ. Trying a little different format and playing with how I want to present these kind of materials. Yep. Yeah, I just got some inspiration from another PBQ and made it my own. All right, cool. So we have some learning targets here. First one is, what is DNS? Well, if you took the A plus or the Network Plus, then you know that it stands for Domain Name Systems. It translates the IP address into a host name and vice versa. So when I say, hey, what is the name server of google.com? Then it's like, there's a ton. Like, man, that's a lot for a website. That's quite a few. It's very unusual. And today's video is brought to you by 142.250.101.113. So let's give it up for that IP address. Okay. Other concept that we're going to learn is the chain of trust. What is a chain of trust? Well, a chain of trust is just saying who you are and proving it. In our last video, we looked at signing and hashes. The same idea applies here when you're validating a hash of data to prove that it's valid and unaltered. Same idea here. We're going to use certificates to prove who a name server is and a website and such from what we just saw of the name server lookup above. And here's examples of what a certificate looks like in your browser. And I just did one for google.com. Notice that you do see the certificate and public key. That's the fingerprints of the SHA-256, like we learned in the prior video. Okay. So here's my scenario. Part one, find issue and solution. Toad is trying to browse to a website by IP address 142.250.101.113 and receives the above error. What is the best answer using the above information? Choose one. Well, before we even look at the answer, they're trying to go to this website by IP address, which is pretty weird stuff. Most people don't do that. They get a certificate error. Okay. We don't know much else, right? So DNS is going on in the background. It's not working. Something's broken. Possible issue. We're missing chain of trust. Well, we are talking about certificates here, but not quite sure, right? The cert is configured with a FQDN or fully qualified domain name. The client is incapable of SSL. The server is inoperable. The system is compromised with malware. Well, not a whole lot to go off here. We just have an IP address and we have um, a, a name for Google, right? We were just talking about Google with the cert above. Okay, connect using the IP. Oh, sorry. So which possible issue we have here and then possible solution. So I'm going to read off here. Connect using the IP address. Connect using like google.com. Connect with HTTP. Install the root certificate. Install secure certificate or restart the computer. Okay, so what's the possible issue and possible solution? Going off what we have here, we could say above that the cert is configured with a domain name, right? We saw that earlier up there. They have the cert. We saw it. So it's not missing, right? Yeah, okay. Should we be connecting by IP address? No, it's pretty weird. You may have better success just going directly by the address. Okay, so that's for the first part, the first task. A lot of this is kind of tricky because we don't have a whole lot of information to go off of. So I can't even lead to a lot of these answers. So that just eliminates all of them. Sometimes restarting computer helps, but in this case, if you're just going to keep going back to the same IP address and having the same error, then restarting the computer doesn't fix it. So you can also eliminate that. So that's the only real possibilities that we can go off of. Okay, part two. Part two, we're going to analyze some evidence here. These certificates are configured correctly on the server side in the Mushroom Kingdom. What else could be the problem? So we're supposed to analyze evidence. We have to look at this carefully, maybe jot down some notes if you need to. Okay, so this is from google.com, the issuer. This is on the server side. This is what it should look like. Okay, so GoDaddy root certificate, authority G2. So we have two different certs, the root and then the secure. Okay, tells you the time and domain name. Okay, it's valid, things look good. Certificates on Toad's PC. So here we are presented with two pieces of evidence. So we're going to need to compare and contrast. Well, let's find this cert. Geo trust, blah, 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 global, blah, 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 government. Hey, well, wait a minute. I don't see GoDaddy. Do you see GoDaddy? Something's missing, maybe? Yeah, missing. Okay, part three, complete the task. Definite issue. You have to choose one. So going off this problem here, this is server side, this is client side. What's wrong? The cert is configured with a FQDN. Was it? The client is capable as SSL, server is inoperable. System is compromised with malware. Oh, why I missed the first one. Client is missing chain of trust. So same multiple choice answers as above, but we choose a different one here. We have different evidence. Okay, so in this case, we know that, well, it's missing. We didn't even see it on Toad's computer. So the chain of trust isn't even there. If the chain of trust were there, maybe it would resolve. Okay, so how do we resolve this then? On the computer, we're going to have to install these certificates, right? Connecting via IP address didn't help. If we just keep doing that over and over, it's not going to change anything. Maybe we can just go to google.com, that'll fix it, but maybe not. No definite answer. No, lessening our security with less security. No, we're definitely not going to use that. Restore PC. Okay, so we're going with those. Well, how do you guys feel? Do you feel like you learned something new? Do you feel like it's too easy, too hard? Well, this was based off one from CompTIA that I thought was pretty fun. Um, so sometimes you might get thrown some certificate errors if you don't go to the host name, or maybe it doesn't resolve correctly in DNS, however it resolves or hops in the background. So generally you just want to browse to domain names directly. Okay, here we notice that there's a certificate missing on Toad's computer. On the server, it was supposed to look like this, and on the client's computer, it's not there. And when it's missing, that's called a missing chain of trust. How do we resolve a missing chain of trust? Well, you just install those certificates. Okay, cool. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed something. Have a good night, San Francisco. Take care.